charge, ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Rock on, Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. In the city, where the roar meets the night, the Lions charge, ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Rocked on, Detroit Lions will rise. Rocked on, Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. With every game, we rise and unite. Feeling the passion igniting the light. Through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. Our legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar. Together we roar. Detroit Lions will rise.
All right. I think we just need to dive into this, man. It's been a long time since I heard that song. Hope everyone's doing all right here on a Sunday night, man. Let's dive into this observations today. So I had the wonderful pleasure of meeting the majority of the mod crew today. So I've met Trace and Michael Garrity before. I've met Maureen before. But got to meet Brandy Coffee today, and then a non-mod, but a guy that's been hanging out watching the channel for a long time, Jose Perez. Got a chance to meet him as well. So glad to see you guys all out at camp. And there was a few others that I met today, and I'm so terrible with names, so I apologize. But good to see you guys, man. It was a good camp. It was kind of on the other side of the field all day for whatever reason. I mean, it seems like the loyalty practices are so much better from that perspective. I think the scrimmages will be, they'll be on both sides of the field. I mean, they really don't have a choice. They're going to have to put ones on one side and twos on the other. That's just how they do it. So I think that you have a little bit more action. Is that tomorrow night? The night practice, which I don't have a ticket for. I'm not going. But anyway, today was good, man. We got to see a few different things. Wide receiver drills today. A lot of wide receiver drills. And if you remember when I did this the other night, there was something that I mentioned about the preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, which was the receivers being able to have strength, at the point of attack, right? And being able to keep that ball in their grasp and not give it up. Now, there was a couple of things that went wrong, obviously, with a short pass from Hooker downfield. I believe that was Jackson Meeks that lost the ball there, so they called it an interception. Or no, that was against Dominic Lovett, wasn't it? So one of the two. You could tell there was an emphasis in practice today on making sure that they hold the football, that once they have it, that they're not going to give it up. So I'm going to run through what I saw, what I noticed today. And great news. We'll see where it goes, but great news. Had a conversation with Solomon today. So hopefully when he gets my email tonight, that I get a good response back, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I had a good conversation. So that's the only thing that matters is we'll see if they're going to allow independence or not. I know we know they allow one, but he's been working his ass off for a long time. So let's walk through what I noticed. And again, thank you to everybody that showed up today that got me a ticket today because I didn't have a ticket for today. Glad to be there. It's always good to get extra notes on these guys. First and foremost, man. So the first part of practice, we had Jake Bates in front of us kicking field goals. And not only was he kicking a 57-yarder with ease, but he kicked one from the 48 that I didn't see this happen. So Michael Garrity had saw this. hit the top of the gray building that is behind the goalpost at least, I'd say 20 plus yards beyond the goalpost is where the roof of that building starts. And the ball hit that. So if you're talking, what, 68, 78 yards? Something like that, 68, 78 yards. That's an amazing kick, right? It didn't just bounce and then bounce up on top of the roof. It hit the roof the way it was explained to me. So that's reported from Michael Garrity today. Jake Bates has a big leg. He really does. But the primary part of the morning drills were receiver drills. Now, after the Hall of Fame game, there was also an emphasis that I had placed on, actually, I got to pause for a second. Big shout out to Brian, who, Eglick, I think that's how you say his last name, on Twitter. He shared this Town Club Honolulu Blue cream soda. And I'm like, hold the phone, like, stop everything. Whatever, where do I get this? One, I love cream soda. And the fact that this is Honolulu Blue cream soda. And he said, you can get it pretty much anywhere around Detroit. And I'm thinking, all right, well, Kroger? Does Kroger sell this stuff? I don't know anything about Town Club. And he's like, yep. And so I Googled the phone. I said, where's the nearest Kroger? It was three minutes away. So I zipped in there and spent way too much money while I was in there. I love Kroger, but I didn't just bring home a dozen of these. I brought home some oxtail and some short rib and some other things that I'll be making tomorrow. But I got to crack this open and try it, man. I got to crack it open. I've been waiting. I've been waiting all day before we did this tonight. Oh, yeah. It's good stuff. It actually kind of tastes like Faygo a little bit. Maybe a little bit sweeter. Good stuff. Not overpowering. What's happening, cruising? What up, though, man? That's on the new shirt. The new Detroit Lions themed shirts that are dropping on 313 Threads. We've got one that says "One Pride, What Up, Though." It's a nice little shirt. It'll be coming out on Tuesday. All right, let's get into these receiver drills because TK85, man, he has hung around this roster for what, 4 seasons now? Fifth season? And he seems to make some really good catches. He has really good preseason every year, and then he just kind of hangs around, right? It's just like he's like the girlfriend you can just never get rid of. Never makes the roster. He gets in a few games. I don't remember if he did last year or not. I don't think he did. But he was also one that I believe caused an interception because he didn't sell his route. He did not sell his route. And for whatever reason, Morton's got these guys doing a ton of short out routes. It is the absolute worst throw in football. The short out route is the one that gets picked off the most, and it goes the other way for 6 the most. Google it if you want to. It is the worst throw to make in the NFL. My opinion, and the opinion is shared among many others. And I would love to know what some quarterbacks think about that. A lot of short out routes. So we're talking 7 to 11 yard breakers here going towards the sideline. And he didn't sell his route in the Hall of Fame game. And I mentioned that in the Hall of Fame game review. And I said they need to work on he's got to break down and sell that route. He's got to make this DB think he's going a different way or in a different direction, something. Well, one of the first drills that Scotty had these guys do, and he set up these cones, right? And they're on both sides. So you're running like a gauntlet, right? But you got cones that were, kind of staggered. And I don't know what they call the drill. I'm going to call it the basketball leg drill, because you get a tennis ball and then you stop and then you stop and you put the tennis ball between your legs, right? So you're going between, like you would with a basketball, you're going between your legs, but you're catching the ball from hand to hand and then you stop hard. You plant and then you stop. And so when I was telling Michael this, I said, this is exactly what you teach to get these guys to learn how to sell their route. You want to throw that shoulder, you want to stomp that foot, you want to go the other direction. And if TK85 would have done that in the Hall of Fame game, probably wouldn't have had that interception. So good sell the route or the basketball leg drill. And TK85 was terrible in the drill. He was the worst one. It was just lazy. Like if you could think of a rounded corner, that's what I think of his route style. Just it's rounded. It's not crisp. It's not jagged. It's not a 90-degree turn. He's a rounded corner the way that he breaks. You don't see that with Monra. You definitely don't see that with Jameson. Box corner turn drill was next. Now, Lovett, Keeney James, and St. Brown and JMO all had very good reps. There was a change of direction, like hop drill. There was a curl pass drill at a point that Jared Goff was perfect. I mean, he was throwing some dimes today, some beautiful passes. And then there's Hooker. Hooker, we've got to have a conversation about Hendon Hooker. Unfortunately, I was hoping it wasn't going to get to this point. I backed Hooker since day one. He was the pick that I picked before the draft happened in the 3rd round. And I thought that he would have made, a very good backup quarterback to Jared Goff. He was just going to need some time coming back from an injury. I don't know if he's ever really recovered. And I'm not saying injury-wise, but mentally. I really don't know if he's ever totally recovered or if he's just in a different space. Like maybe he feels like his talents aren't being utilized. I don't know. I can't answer for the guy. But when I see him work out on the field, excuse me there, allergies are nuts as usual. When I see him working out on the field, it's lazy. There's no snap. There's no giddy up. There's no, make an impression. It's every day for him should be an audition. Every day should be an interview to stay on the damn team. And I don't see it. He's throwing short. He's not leading his receivers constantly. Goff throws a perfect dart, lobs one, up over the shoulder, making some. I mean, it's not like Goff had a perfect day. He didn't, but he's thrown a lot of perfect balls today. Allen stuck a few passes, but Hendon Hooker, just about every throw was off. Behind the receiver, over the receiver, in the dirt, and then he gets the ball the next time, and it's like you got three quarterbacks that they brought the guys in to do play drills, right? So they're dialing up some plays. You might have 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a couple of tight ends, all standing around, and they're lining the guys up where they would be on the field, and they hike the ball, they go. So Hooker's somewhere on the field, and so he's going to throw the ball to somebody. Goff's going to throw the ball to somebody. Allen's going to throw the ball to somebody, and then 2 other guys are going to throw the ball to the running back or the tight end or whomever. Wherever the ball is not supposed to go, like Goff is taking the first shot, obviously the hot route. And then, from there, obviously everyone's got their option. Hooker he's just kind of just moping, grabs the ball. Just kind of, body language is terrible. Like he just doesn't want to play the game. Everybody else is snappy, man, right to it, looking good. Hooker's just kind of moping around. So I'm beginning to wonder if his head is just not in the game anymore. So I'm beginning to get a little worried about Hendon Hooker. Slants and cross. Hooker misses the first. It was high. It was behind the receiver a couple of times. He sailed some passes. He led Raymond a bit too long on the last rep. But just about everybody that was catching a pass from Hooker or was targeted by Hooker didn't have a good day of practice because they're not catching footballs. That doesn't look good. JMO had a drop. He double catches a lot today. Was my biggest note on JMO. I haven't seen JMO do this a whole lot, but now I have to pay more attention. He's double clutching. So it's like he catches the ball and then he lets it go. Here, we'll demonstrate. He catches the ball and then he goes like this, right? He catches it and he pops it back up. catches it, pops it back up. Those balls are going to get swatted away. Those balls are going to get taken away as interceptions. Can't do that. If you're going to catch with your hands, you got to catch with your hands. You got to lock it in. Now, like I said, I haven't seen J-Mo do this a ton. So I'm wondering if he was just having an off day. Maybe some of the passes were coming from Hooker. I couldn't see every single pass on who it went to and who it came from. I'm just going to blame the Hooker for today, I guess. I don't know. I'm just going to assume that you guys tomorrow night when you're at practice, you're going to give me a different report that says that J-Mo looked great. And he wasn't double clutching his catches, his passes. Let's see. Isaac, man. Isaac Tesla catches absolutely everything. The dude is just a dog, man. I'm so glad all the haters that piped up early about this pick, and you know who you are. I mean, we've seen the meltdowns during the draft. People just look stupid, right? Just big act and entertainment, act, and now they're going to look dumb because they're going to be cheering on their team and saying how good Isaac Tesla is. The dude's a dog. He's an animal. And, man, he catches it all. He really does. A lot of work today on ball protection, like I said, so that, as they're getting out into the middle of the field, turning and running. You got Scotty was out there with the big, pads and his, arms in the pad, and he's just trying to punch these balls out, or, he's out there, and as they're running by, he's swatting, grabbing the ball, doing something. Today was about being tough, is what today was about. And a few more things I noticed. In the receiver drills, pass plays, Gibbs was getting a lot of work downfield. I'm going to come back to the toughness in just a moment. You're going to love this about Kirby and Amon-Ra. Anyway, Gibbs was getting a lot of work downfield, a lot of misdirection work today. Hooker, again, was flying balls too high, too much in the air, man. I mean, so much so that I do know that Gibbs didn't even get targeted on a couple of plays. Like, everyone's supposed to get a ball. He didn't even get a ball. Like, someone missed that he was even out there. But then there was plays that, where he was getting, targeted. He was catching the football with ease. I think he had one drop today. And again, I'm not even going to say it's his fault, but if you drop the ball, you drop the ball. Again, in this drill, Hooker's body language is so lazy, no snap, no effort. Again, I wrote that down 3 times today. That's how bad it looked. Another short ball by Hooker during this drill. And then the Lions, they ran a little flea flicker. And it was to Sam Laporta downfield. This was during, I think it was 7-on-7s. But then there's the pass that I hate. The quick hitch. You guys, if you know me and you've been watching any of the, live streams whenever I've done them during the game, if I'm not at a game, the one play that irks me to death is that quick hitch route where, we would have J-Mo out wide. You might have 2 out wide or even 3. You might be trips far right or far left, usually far right to Goff's right. And one would stand back, and stop and catch the ball behind the other 2 receivers. The other 2 receivers are supposed to go out and block. My biggest gripe with Jared Goff is his body is not meant to do that pass. I'm sorry. He will deny that. And some other people will deny that too. Obviously, John Morton will deny it. But I'm telling you, every time we've thrown that football, I'd say 9 out of 10 times that ball is almost picked or goes for no yards at all. Today, again, they ran it. But what I said last year is I need to see him run this drill with Gibbs in motion, with J-Mo in motion. You get them running in motion behind the line. You hike the ball. It's a turn and a gun, like you're turning, second, or you're flopping it, from short to second. You're turning and burning to first. That's the kind of action you need in the lower waist, in the lower body, is that turn and burn, man. And we just don't see it. Goff is too lanky, too long. Takes him a second to get that arm cocked back. That's why it's perfect for, guys like Patrick Mahomes. Even Allen, who's, kind of long and lanky. He's a little bit more stout, a little bit more, he's a lot stronger. Lamar Jackson's, he's quick, he's snappy. That kind of play is good for those guys. For Jared Goff, that play is not great. Now, what play is good for Jared is if you got a guy in motion. Unfortunately, I didn't see that happen today. But what I did see is that when they ran the quick hitch, it wasn't way out wide. It was in a little bit tighter to the line. And I would say normally if you got a guy in the slot, it was behind about 2 yards behind the line, kind of where the slot would be closer to the tight end, if that makes sense. So at least it wasn't way out wide. And so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. I still don't think that play is going anywhere this year. We'll see. Now we're going to get to let's make you tough, right? And this is great. So who was it at first? Was it Tesla or was it Lovett? It might have been Lovett. So, again, talking last week after the Hall of Fame game, how Lovett just wasn't strong at the point of attack. He missed a couple of plays today. But, I just got a text. What happened? He wasn't very strong at the point of attack. But today, Kirby, we'll start with Lovett. So Lovett lines up on the wide side, on the outside. And Kirby switches up or does something. He comes down to get in front of Lovett. And Goff got pissed when this happened the second time. But Tesla or Lovett was going to run a deep route. And Kirby jammed him up, man, in the throat, in his face, held his jersey 15 yards down the field and stood in front of him and just stood him up and backpedaled the whole way. Like, it's time to toughen up, man. It's time to bring that muscle out of you. You got to get stronger. And so no flags, no whistles from the coaches. I'm assuming that they knew that Kirby was going to go do this. This is the welcome to the NFL moment. It's time to toughen up. And when you see these guys making plays in the Hall of Fame game and they're getting bodied, and losing the football, your leaders on this team need to do something about it. It's all in fun, right? At the same time, it's serious, right? Kirby wants this guy to get better. Well, then it's Tesla's turn, and he does the same thing. And he's holding on to him the entire time. Goff fires the ball. It was a comeback route, and he's just holding on to him. And Goff just started yelling at Kirby, like, why are you holding, man? Why are you holding? But I could see exactly what Kirby was trying to do. He was trying to be a leader, and he's trying to get these guys to toughen up. Now, I don't know if anyone else is talking about this stuff. I don't try to read what anyone else is writing or talking about because I like it to be natural. The mods, they see the work that I do. I'm always writing notes and trying to put some good information for you guys together while we're at camp. Anyway, man, Kirby, man, he beat those guys up pretty bad. It was good to see. 11 out of 11s was opposite field today. But what I did notice is, man, this stuff's good. My throat's still killing me. What I did notice today is Goff was climbing the pocket pretty nice. They were getting some pressure on him pretty quick. And he would navigate. Now, he's not supposed to be hit, right? But this wasn't about being hit. He got away from everybody. He was climbing the pocket. He was getting up to that next level. And that's good to see because he doesn't get a lot of credit for being mobile, and he's mobile enough. He's mobile as a pocket passer and what a pocket passer needs to do. There's one thing about Jared Goff. There's a lot of things, but there's one thing about Jared Goff that I don't think he gets enough credit for. And that dude has like this sixth sense of awareness. He stays so calm when he's in the pocket, and it's coming down on him, and he doesn't flinch. He doesn't move. He delivers the football time and time and time again. He will deliver the football where it needs to go, and then he'll take the hit. So he's not one to shy away, from the competition, if you will, but climbing the pocket, having that awareness, knowing what's going on around you is a talent that not every quarterback has, Awareness is hard. You can't create it. It's something that you have developed throughout, I think, your lifetime, is that you're aware. And, if you've got good, peripheral vision, that obviously would help too. Yeah, Todd Boudry in the chat says he does not panic. He definitely doesn't. A couple of throws by Jared Goff behind receivers today, but I really wasn't worried about his work, because I think he did an excellent job today. And we'll see what Tim Twentyman says if he's got a count. Lions offense working on getting out of the opponent's end zone today. So they were kind of working from the backside. If you're sitting in the bleachers, they're opposite side, end zone on the left side. And so they were working, it looked like from like the 7 to 10 yard line that they're trying to work out of the end zone. They might even been backed up further than that. So a lot of running work, short pass, situations. Sione Vaki was back today. Taylor Decker was back today, but it didn't seem like he was doing a whole lot today. But Sione Vaki was back, man. He's a tough runner. I'm elated every time I see this kid, with a football in his hand in the backfield. I remember scouting him at Utah. I did that video on him, and I said, man, just look how crisp this dude is in the offense that he had to fill in for. He volunteered. And next thing you know, this guy turns into a running back and pretty good receiver too. And didn't do it since like high school or whatever. And looking great, man. So when I scouted him and did that video early, he ends up being a Detroit Lion. I'm not saying Brad watched my video, but Brad could have watched me. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke. Punt work. Raymond took a punt to the house today. He does not want to let that job up to anybody. I think Raymond's going to be on this roster. I absolutely do. I think that Lovett is going to put some heat on him at some point. But if he can't work his way through special teams, and if he can't hold on to the football, and if the ball hits him in the hands and he can't catch it, there's a lot of drops going on today by everybody other than Tesla, then he's not going to push Raymond for a roster spot. But if Brad keeps 6 on the roster, I think that right now Lovett is still that 6th wide receiver. During 11-11s on the defensive side of the football, Tyreek was pushing the pocket really well today. And I noticed that he was getting his hands up often. So if you remember when I highlighted XM Radio's, could have been training camp. No, it was before training camp. And they were talking about Aiden Hutchinson. They were talking about the pass rush for the Detroit Lions. And one of the things that Jim Miller had said, Pat Kirwan had said, is that, if you're not getting, scratch all that. Jared Allen. What Jared Allen had said is if you're not affecting the play in 2.25 seconds, you're not getting to the quarterback, how are you going to affect that play? Right? That means you get your hands up. So if you're not getting in and you're not getting to the quarterback right away, you've got to get those hands up to be able to knock a pass down. Because no yards, that's still a really good football play by the defense to hold the team to no yards on a play. Doesn't always have to be negative. But if you can hold them to no yards, that is just as good as a sack or a TFL, even though it's not for a loss. So Tyreek, I noticed, was getting his hands up a ton. And that's not to say that he wasn't able to get into the backfield or wasn't winning a rep. I think he was just being smart, and I think that there's an emphasis on this year. It was one of the things that I highlighted, last season and seasons before, is that our guys just don't get their hands up. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. Like that is something that you have to do. Again, Goff made a few more nice throws downfield. Khalif had a long one on the sideline for a TD. And then on the defense, Ahmed, oh my goodness. Ahmed had a very bad rep today, and I don't know why or where this came from, but he tried to do the Hutch spin 360. So he was come firing off the left side, and he immediately starts to do a 360 spin move on number 83. And he got held up. And 83 just kind of bear wrapped him, picked him up, and then away he went. So I think this was like an individual, kind of a drill. But where your one-on-ones, everyone had a one-on-one that you're just trying to win on this rep. And I think he was trying to do the hutch move. It didn't work out for him. Other than that, I didn't see him a whole lot. Number 90, I think, is Chris Smith. He had a couple really good reps during the one-on-one drills. It's D-line versus O-line, and he was looking pretty good. So that was encouraging. And then I saw Ahmed again. He was working on number 76, had a really great push, but then he couldn't get to the tap-out box. So there's like a little box or something. I don't know what it is. I call it a box. You got to tap it out. So when you win this one-on-one, and the defense, is able to get past the offense, you tap it out, which means you got to the quarterback. He was not able to do that, but it was still a good bull rush. And then number 50, man, is 50 a good? I left my roster upstairs. Is number 50 a goodie? Does anybody know? Or is it Al-Qadim Muhammad? Let's see. It is a goodie or good, whatever. This dude, this is my last statement before I bring in Dan Campbell. Absolute animal, rip, curl, claw, whatever he had to do to win his rep, he did it. He looked really good today. So that's really all I have. Not as much defense notes today because the defense was not on my side of the field for the long of it. Will Carter just dropped $20 in the donation pot. It says, man, for all the great work, mucho appreciation, and a bag of throat lozenges. Yeah, I wish those would help, but I hear you. They actually might. I never thought about it. They took biopsies in my throat, so it's just raw. It's just raw. And the more you talk, the more air you push past it, the more irritated it gets. So doesn't feel the greatest. Appreciate you, Mr. Carter. Let's get you dialed up with, I love this one, man. Amik the Missile. Amik looked really good today, too, by the way. I saw a couple of good plays by him.
On 3rd and 14, Jones has got it, setting up a screen, and it's blown up. Oh, my goodness. Amik Robertson just sent ETN back to Jacksonville. What a hit.
Okay, so now that I'm done with all of that, which took me, I don't know, about 30 minutes. Now I'm going to open it up to questions, and because I probably missed them, so just restate them. I haven't been able to really pay attention to the chat, but if you have questions, if you have statements, if there's anything you saw at practice today, let me know. Share it with everybody. I'd like to share it for you. So we'll do that for a little bit. And then I want to bring in Dan Campbell. So I assume everybody probably watched Dan Campbell's press conference today. I was listening to it on my way in, but I didn't focus on it, if that makes sense. So there's a few things that he said that I want to go through. So if you don't mind, I'd love to bring him in and just kind of walk through it. It's about 11 minutes long. I'll stop and start throughout it so we can kind of break it down a little bit. Marcus Newsom says Laporta being healthy and Jamo being available week 1 is the best start to a season offensively, at least on paper, since Dan Campbell and Jared Goff joined Detroit. So yeah, that's a good statement, dude. I mean, to think about it, right? Laporta was super healthy his rookie year, but Jamo wasn't there. Last year, Laporta was injured. And Jamo, I don't think he was there again either, was he? He was suspended for the first couple of games, was he not? So this might be our best start if everyone stays healthy, right? This might be our best start to the season. Oh, yes, I forgot about injuries. My apology. So I posted it as it happened. Ennis Rakestraw and Michael Garrity, pointed out right away that he was down. There was 2 trainers working with him, and then Dan Campbell walked over, was kind of peering over him to see what was going on. The immediate thought was they seemed like they were poking at his ribs. So was it ribs? Was it his chest again? but they were kind of working off to the side. And then Detroit Sports Nation replied to my Twitter post and said it sounded like a shoulder. And that was the reports that came out after the fact, maybe an hour or so later, that it appeared that he might have been working on a shoulder injury. I did not see him come back in. I believe that he left practice shortly after the one-on-one tackling drill. And he was being evaluated for a shoulder injury. Dan Jackson also left practice early today too. So, you remember when I said the other night, was it yesterday or was it the day before? I think it was last night. My mind is a mess today. Where I said, would Brad just want to trade Ennis Rakestraw because he's been so injured? And, would that be the right move? You probably won't get squat for him, right? Because he hasn't done anything. He hasn't proven himself. You spend a 2nd round pick on the guy and you'd be lucky to get a 6th round pick back for him at this point. See that when you draft the guy, the picks are worth a lot more when you're drafting, right? But after you've seen what their work is or their health is in the NFL, yeah, they're not worth anything at that point. So the answer would be no, right? It's not like you should trade the guy. Now, should you cut the guy because he can't stay healthy? Probably not. If it were me, I'm probably going to keep somebody on the roster that's healthier. And maybe just shut him down, put him on IR for at least 4 weeks, first 4 weeks of the season. Just go get healthy, dude. Just go get healthy and then come back. And then again, if you're hurt after that, then either he's just not tough enough or he's just going to be injury prone. I mean, cornerbacks they tend to be injury prone, but he's had his fair share, man. And it's crazy because during that draft last year, I read a report, and I read it to y'all, that the Detroit Lions should run away from Ennis Rakestraw. There was a report that the Lions were looking at Ennis Rakestraw, and they really liked him. And before the draft, someone wrote something, and I don't remember who it is, that they should run away from Rakestraw. And then we draft him. But in that report, they highlighted his injury issues. Whoever wrote that knew something. Somebody knew something. AC joint sprain, heard he landed right on his side, says Nick P. I don't know who reported that. Where'd you see that? AC joint sprain. That's not good. If that's accurate. Let's do a quick Google search real quick. Let's see. Go to Jeremy Reisman here. Let's see what he had to say. Looks like, oh man, I didn't notice this, that Yeboah suffered an injury in Thursday's preseason game. Absence on Sunday was related to personal issues, that he's expected to be fine from the injury. Should be good. He's got personal things he's dealing with in a good way. Let's see. All right, Rakestraw has been battling a chest injury all of camp and now has a shoulder injury on the very first one-on-one tackling rep of practice. He tried to take down Tom Kennedy, only to come down hard on his shoulder. The media's view was obstructed from watching how Rakestraw was treated by the medical team on the field, but he did not return to practice. I had good view. Good enough. Nick P, where'd you... oh, you're just taking a guess. I got you. Yes. Okay. I hear now. I think I took the heard it or heard he or something like that the wrong way. It could be. I mean, it could be an AC joint sprain. Could be. I hope it's not a separated shoulder. Right? I thought it was more rib because they were kind of working on the side. But I guess to Reisman's point, I mean, couldn't quite see everything that they were doing, but you could see enough where with the area of the body they were working on anyway. All right, so if there's not a whole lot of questions or anything that's going to pop in, please send it to mailbag@rockdown.com. We'll make sure this week we get to the mailbag. So mailbag@rockdown.com, and then we will highlight all of your questions and thoughts during the week. This week, phone line should open like at the quarter of the hour, so a 8:45 and a 9:45 in the morning. I want to start opening up the phone lines, take a couple of calls. If no one calls, I'm going to shut it down. We're going to go through our stuff, then we'll open it up towards the end. Obviously, each day is a little bit different. If we got crazy news stuff that we're covering, we just got to roll with the punches. But otherwise, I want to try to get a lot of people's thoughts on air this year because this is your team, and we want to hear your opinions, right? We want to hear what's important to you. It's your show. I'm just here dialing all the buttons around, pushing stuff, right? I'm just pushing shit around. That's all I'm doing. All right, let's get into Dan Campbell. Mr. Dan Campbell, I didn't get a chance, like I said, to really focus in on this, but he did say a couple of things that I wanted to kind of retrace his steps, if you will. So let's take a listen to Dan Campbell. Let me make sure that I've got audio turned on for this guy. Looks like I do. Looks like we do. All right, Dan Campbell this morning.
Really nothing new to speak of here. Getting ready week 2. We'll get 3 really good practices here and then get ready for Atlanta. So, this will be a big week for us, but ready to roll. So, questions?
Any update on Dan Skipper?
He'll probably be down for about a week. Got his ankle a little bit. Shouldn't be long term, but he's going to need to lay off of it for a little bit here. He will be out there, individual, group. Don't see him doing any team right now, but he'll be back out moving around, which is good. Yeah.
How big strides has he made?
That was because he was coming off an injury, and we really didn't even know if he'd be able to play in that game. It was kind of last minute. Fish and them took him through a number of things and felt like, hey, he can go. Doing pretty good. The kid felt good. And so we let him go a little bit on defense, but held back on special teams. And yeah, he did a few things. It was a good outing. Especially for his first game, and it did miss some practice time. So, we'll see what this is. Certainly, he's going to get more reps this week. He's going to get special teams, and just see where he can go with it.
You use the phrase "he fits us" a lot when talking about guys.
It was a good out, and so we let him go a little bit on defense, but held back on special teams. And yeah, he did a few things. And so we let him go a little bit on things and felt like, hey, he can go. And we really didn't even know if he'd be able to play.
Sorry, I'm rewinding this a little bit because I kind of missed something. So I'm going to rewind it for just a second here.
Yeah.
How big strides has he made?
That was because he was coming off an injury, and we really didn't even know if he'd be able to play in that game. It was kind of last minute. Fish and them took him through a number of things and felt like, hey, he can go. Doing pretty good. The kid felt good. And so we let him go a little bit on defense, but held back on special teams.
Okay, so does anybody have a clue who he's talking about here? I couldn't hear the media, go figure, right? Couldn't hear the media's question. And Dan was saying it was, didn't know if this guy was going to play due to injury, and then they let him go a little bit on defense, blah, 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 blah. I have no clue who they're talking about.
teams, and yeah, he did a few things. You know, it was a good outing. You know, especially for his first game, and you know, it did miss some practice time. So, you know, we'll see what this is. Certainly, he's going to get more reps this week. He's going to get special teams, and just see where he can go with it.
You use the phrase "he fits us" a lot when talking about guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is 5 teams in 5 years for Rocky Sin.
Yeah.
Just the style of play he has. Is he one of those guys that you just feel fits what you guys are about?
Yeah, I like Rock. You know, we all like Rock. There's, you know, his work ethic, man.
I just got to rewind that just so you guys heard that clearly one more time.
You know, we all like Rock. There's, you know, his work ethic, man. He's pretty tough. He's physical. He's headsy, and he's versatile. You know.
5 teams in 5 years
Just one more time. I just want to make sure it really gets in there good.
He has. Is he one of those guys that you just feel fits what you guys are about?
Yeah, I like Rock. You know, we all like Rock. There's, you know, his work ethic, man. He's pretty tough. He's physical. He's headsy, and he's versatile. You know, there's a number of things he can do. We'd like to start working him at some safety too. You know, but you know, he drew a rough matchup in this game on special teams on some stuff. You know, that was just kind of the nature of the way that game was set up on teams. You know, you can't really do what you'd normally do in a game. You know, you just put a guy. But the defense, you know, the few reps he was in there, man, he showed up on the perimeter, and just like this guy. I mean, he just can do a lot, and he's the same guy every day and just goes to work.
Dan, after watching the film, what did you make of Giovanni Manu's performance, and where do you feel like he's at in his development?
Better.
Okay, so recap the first part. One, he says that they all love Rock, right? They all love Rock. He's so versatile. He's got really crazy work ethic. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it, man. We love you too. Thanks for the shout out. That will be a soundbite all season long now. But Rock Ya-Sin. So talking about Rock Ya-Sin's versatility, wanting to get him out at safety, and I think it's a great opportunity for Rock Ya-Sin. I really loved his play in this game, and like Dan was just about to say, you know, he drew a pretty tough opponent in this game, a tough assignment in this game. Man, I still think there's a lot for Rock Ya-Sin to grow into in this defense. He's just blended. You know, you talk about chameleons, right? You know, guys that can just show up and do their job. He's been a chameleon on this team already. Like, he's blended in, he's doing the thing, and he understands the defense. So I look forward to seeing more from this guy. But we'll listen a little bit more here.
It was better. That's the best way to say it. You know, there's the beginning of camp has been probably more downs than ups, and then the game was more encouraging. You know, and actually, I will say this: I thought his last practice before this game was better. So I do feel an uptick here, and now you just got to build off of that. But always going to be things to work on, but it was better.
Yeah, and speaking of guys, who you say what has Tyler Roll brought to this coaching staff? What do you see from him, not just on the practice field, but in meetings and behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, everything he does is very intentional. You know, he's certainly he's a guy that wants to make sure that he's detailed, he's thorough, he's intense, he's got intensity. You know, and he just brings a certain attitude and urgency really to the position that I think is good for those guys. So, you know, he's involved in a number of things that we're doing offensively, run game, protections, certainly the pass game. You know, when you're coaching that position, you got to know all of it. So he's a good asset, and I bring this up all the time. He's different than the rest of those guys. He's different than Scotty. He's different than John Morton. He's different than Hank, and that's a good thing. You know, he just brings a little bit different type of personality to us, which is good.
What do you like about Avonte Maddox at the safety position?
Well, he's another guy, vet, man. He's a vet. He's a pro. He's been there. He understands how to play. He's a smart football player, very aware. You know, he's aware of his own, like, all right, this is where I got to check myself and make sure that I can do this, or I got to get to this spot a little bit quicker because of my size or whatever it is. He just knows his own deficiency at time can make up for those because he plays one step ahead. So he's another guy. He can do a lot of jobs. He's got a lot of versatility. You know, we know he can play the nickel, but we're asking him to do some safety, you know, special teams if we get in a pinch. He's just, you know, he's a good guy to have because you never know. He can.
Sorry, I got to pause it there. So there's one thing that a lot of things he said here, but very, very important thing that Dan just said. You guys have heard me say this before, that you can be the fastest football player on a team. And for a lack of better words, let's just say you're the dumbest, but you're the fastest. You're going to run yourself out of a play because you're not putting yourself in a smart position to win. You don't understand the defense. You're not doing what the scheme is asking you to do. And you're just playing fast, playing with your hair on fire, but with no type of technique, no skill, just run, you know, see ball, hit ball type stuff. Right. And that's not a knock on Ahmed. He says it, he means it a little bit differently. Kinda. That's just what he saw in the very beginning stages of his career with see ball, hit ball. That's just how he was taught. So in this scenario, he just mentioned, Dan did, that, you know, when a guy knows his deficiencies, he plays a step ahead. And so what I've always said is the guys that have it from the shoulder up, right? They got it. If they got it, they got it. You can be a Brian Branch that does not run the fastest, and that's okay. Because if you're not going to be the fastest guy, as long as you're the smartest football player on the team, you're going to put yourself in a position to win. How many times do we see Brian Branch make plays that he probably has no business making, right? He's there. He's going up against guys that are a lot faster than him, and he's there to make the play. Now, I know he's talking, I think, about Rock Ya-Sin still, but the point that I'm trying to make here is the Lions don't necessarily go after the Lamborghini, right, that's sitting out there in free agency. No, they're going after the sharpest tool in the shed. They want the guy that has it in the head. They have it from the neck up. They're smart football players. A smart football player is going to be a more athletic football player 10 out of 10 times. We've seen it time and time and time again. So just more smart awareness by Dan Campbell to know what your player has and what type of position you can put him in, how you can leverage his abilities or leverage, against his deficiencies and what you can do with that. So just smart football, man. Let's keep going here.
Kind of covered you in a number of areas. You can go out and play corner if you have to have him out there too.
One of the things you love about joint practice is you can control the situation and get the evaluations you need. But what didn't you get to see in the preseason game one that maybe you hope to get a longer look at?
Say that again.
In joint practice, you can control the situation, you can get the evaluations you need.
Yeah.
Preseason's a little bit more, it comes to you the way it comes to you. So is there anything you wanted to see in that game that maybe you didn't get chances because the game situation dictated it?
Like to see more first downs on offense. But I guess you can't really fabricate those either in joint. No. I mean, really, we got to look. We got 2 minutes. If anything, yeah, you'd like to have felt like you got down in the red zone a little bit more offensively and got some of those reps. I mean, the good news, defensively, I felt like we got a little bit of everything, probably minus a good 2-minute drive. But everything else we pretty much saw defensively. Offensively, you'd like to see, just to get down there in that red zone a little bit more. And that, that requires not turning the ball over, as we know, and then converting on first downs. But But that would be the big thing. Whereas joint practices, you know you're going to get those. You're going to get plenty of your base reps, red zone, third down, all of those. So probably that.
We saw Terry leave early with a hamstring injury. Just kind of curious what his status is moving forward.
He'll be down for a little bit. It's not a major hamstring. This is a low grade, but we're trying to be smart with it, and we're hoping to have him back. What is today? Sunday, right? We're hoping to have him back by the middle of the week.
What do you get out of that? Sort of changing it up to do something a little bit later.
Yeah, it's a little bit of all that. I mean, we do this once a year. We do this night practice, and so I just know. I always liked it as a player. It was a good change-up. It just kind of breaks the monotony of camp a little bit. And then it's, as to what our schedule has been over the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, it's just, you don't know when you're playing. You're playing in the afternoon, you're playing at night, you're playing 5 days away, 4 days away, 6 days, 7 cross. So it's just how do we mix up things a little bit and get them used to, to a little bit of the chaos in a good way.
Alternating your starter in the preseason games, starting quarterback, or you kind of?
Yes, I see Hooker starting this first half versus Atlanta, and then Kyle will take the back half. No, I mean, I can tell you both of those guys are, it goes without saying they're frustrated with the way that went, and they both want to improve and get better, and they will.
So I just wanted to make a quick comment here. Yes, I'm a little hard on Hooker today because this is your first, I believe, your first practice back. Yeah, they played on Thursday. They probably got home on Friday. Probably had Saturday off. Maybe it was I don't know if they did have practice on Saturday. I don't think they did. So today was your first day back, and you just didn't see a lot of urgency with what he's doing. But the thing I wanted to key in on here is, when Hooker didn't start the other night, I was a little bit worried. Like, okay, if he's supposed to be the number 2 right now, don't you think you probably should have put him in first? But again, I get it. They kind of go back and forth, and they're probably looking to get certain things out of each team. It's probably a matchup thing. I guess I would go there with it, but that's what you're going to see. One's going to start 1 week, one's going to start the next week. Maybe Allen earned the right to start again the Hall of Fame game. I don't know, but again, the Hall of Fame game is so meaningless. It is so much more meaningless than the preseason 1 week, which is really this first game against Atlanta. This is really the first preseason game. And the Hall of Fame game is like incredibly meaningless. So outside of getting some good tape, like Dan said, they got a lot of stuff on defense. And to his point, yeah, I would have loved to have seen some red zone work too by the offense because, sit in front row, you pay really good money for good tickets, and we don't even get one drive. Not one drive into the red zone. Not one. We had like one pass to Isaac Tesla into the corner that he got pushed off his route and got intercepted. That's about it. So yeah, it was really disappointing that they couldn't move the football at all. But Terry and Arnold playing in the Hall of Fame game, I didn't understand that. Like, you should have just let the other guys play because now he's got a hamstring injury and he's going to be shut down. I'm sure that you want to see the guy get some reps. But why would you want to take risk? And are these guys seriously not stretching good enough? Look, I'll say this because I battle with hamstring spasms. They're extremely bad. I mean, you want to talk about sports cramps. It's what I go through. Hamstring stretches are not easy. Like they're not easy to get into. You have to put your body in a very specific position to stretch your hamstring. I know that sounds stupid, but go try to stretch your hamstring right now without sitting down, putting your body in an awkward position, or being able to even touch your toes, bending over and trying to touch your toes does not do your hamstrings justice. So I think these guys are not stretching their hamstrings good enough because a lot of hamstring injuries for the Lions already.
With a 2 running back package with, Jameer and David, I mean, how much do you think that can give you flexibility to, attack defenses much in the way that, 15 years ago, I guess 12 personnel was really being used in that way to just kind of get defenses to declare and then, be able to attack whatever the weakness is.
Well, I think when you're getting another athlete, speed and space, things of that nature. That's one of the areas that you really can. You feel like maybe you can find an advantage there. I don't think you can live in those packages, but I do think they're a good change-up to have at times. And then to answer that question, really, it's about how far can, for example, Gibbs, if you're going to do that and you want to do a lot more of it, how much can he really expand the route tree, concept, scheme, like all of that. Physically he can do a lot of things. It's just about being able to invest enough time to get all that stuff done with him because he's still got to get in the backfield, still got to get protections, the routes out of the backfield. Now we go outside, which we're working on. So it's just kind of a balancing act with that. But there is a way to use it, certainly, when you've got the 2 horses we've got.
How about just the sheer motion using him? Because much like the Wildcat in that sense. Again, you get the defense looking, the moving, adjusting, and then you can bang up the middle too.
Well, yeah. Those things there is a place for it, and really, there's nothing new about Pony 21. That's what we call it, and it's been around for a while. Like Green Bay uses the heck out of it. They always have. LaFleur's big into that stuff, and it is good. There is a good place for it, and I think it's, what are you going to get? What kind of matchup are you going to get? Are they giving you base defense? Are they giving you nickel defense? And if so, what are you going to do out of that? What do you hang your hat on? So there's a place for it. It's just about, finding the right balance of how much you use it. What are you going to do with it? How much are you going to put on Gibbs? But also, what about David? What out of that package? What's good for him too? That's why he's out there too. So, which is all we're working through all of that. It'll be good. It's pretty exciting though.
Okay, so that was it for Dan Campbell this morning. Kind of ended weird. I'm not totally sure why that ended the way it did, but it did. Probably because it was recorded after the fact, but it wasn't taken directly off YouTube. So what he was talking about there at the end, how are you going to get both of your horses involved, if you will? To his words, right? Your horses. David and Gibbs, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, when you're in 12 personnel, how are you going to utilize both of them? Where's the ball going to go? Obviously, Gibbs is going to be out wide. But David can catch the pass. He can catch the pass too, man. He's good in the pass game. I think that gives you options. I'd love to see both of those guys in the backfield and both of those guys fly out and go get a pass. You know what I mean? You could run out of 12 personnel all day and just turn it into the pass game. Like, tell me a defense that can really be ready for that. Seriously, tell me if the Lions aren't recognizing this right now, like, you have a special opportunity. You can have your 2 backs on the field, Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can have all of them on the field together. David Montgomery, Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, and Williams. And you can run, all 5 in a pass play. You can fake the run and send, Gibbs out on a wheel and David up the gut, for a screen. Or just fly through the middle and just run a post up the middle. There's so much you could do. And defenses can't do squat about it. There's no way. First of all, J-Mo's going to take the top off. You're probably going to want to commit 2 guys to him when he does that. You just tell him to fly to the end zone. Right? And then you have Laporta run the same thing next to him and then slant. And then you got Gibbs flying right behind him. And that ball's just going to be lobbed over the middle or lobbed to the outside, right side of the hash to Gibbs. And he's gone. All day. Tell me a linebacker that's going to be able to hang with Gibbs. It's not going to happen. It's not. They got to take advantage of that. They need to use 12 personnel a lot more this year. That's a good point too, Trace. Gibby he'll require 2 defenders too. So they have the ability to do some really cool stuff this year. They did the last couple of years. They didn't do it. It's time to do it. It's just time to do it. Oh man, I'm glad to see that Clemmy got an opportunity to get a picture with Kirby. Did you guys get any? Did you guys get any autographs today when you went to that one side? I'm curious. All right. Lastly here, I just want to look at Tim Twentyman's report. And he says, it was all good to see Kirby Joseph back on the field, nickel cornerback Amik Robertson, and left tackle Taylor Decker and running back Sione Vaki all returning to practice on Sunday morning. And let's see. Talking about safety looks, he says the Detroit secondary has a number of versatile players. Brian Branch, Avonte Maddox both play safety and corner. Veteran corner Rocky Sin has flashed some versatility in his game early in camp and is coming off of a nice performance in the Hall of Fame game. And Rocky Sin took some safety reps today for the first time in camp. See, I missed that. I didn't see that. So Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh my goodness. I don't know how I missed that in my notes because I put it out on Twitter. He caught, just an ice cold pass by Jared Goff. He was so ecstatic, Amon-Ra was, about this pass. He immediately turned and just pointed at Jared Goff with the football like, that's the spot. You can't defend it. Where Jared Goff threw this football, and Branch was draped all over him on this play. Well, he caught that football going out of bounds, and he kind of caught the ball, body inbounds, ball kind of going out of bounds, behind Branch. Beautiful play. One of the best plays I've seen in a long time. The play before that, when Amon-Ra St. Brown and Branch they were lined up on each other all day, it seemed like. Amon-Ra St. Brown cooked him down the sideline and got maybe a leg on him, maybe a step, but caught a beautiful pass over the top of Branch, over the right shoulder of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Goff just dropped it right in the bucket. But Brown was looking good. And it's the same thing that Tim Twentyman said here, is he said that it's been fun watching Amon-Ra St. Brown work through the course of practice. In one-on-ones against DBs, he had a great rep against Brian Branch where he made a cut to the sideline and showed a really late hands catching the ball, so Branch couldn't react in time to make a play. And that was that ice cold back shoulder throw. He said St. Brown then showed off his speed, beating Branch on a straight go route down the left sideline for a touchdown. He also made a diving catch along the left sideline in a team period later in practice. That Brown looks to be in midseason form, and he does. He looks great. Perfect morning for Jake Bates. He hit all of them, 34, 38, 39, 44, 44, and 49. He made his first 14 attempts, only missed 3 field goals all season last year, I guess. Situational work today. Key situational period for the Detroit Lions. First team. Offense on Sunday was having the ball at their own 34-yard line with 2 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock. and holding on to a 1-point lead. The defense was given 2 timeouts, get the first down, and win the drill. After 2 Jahmyr Gibbs runs totaling 6 yards on the first and second down, the offense then came out of the 2-minute warning facing 3rd and 4. John Morton dialed up a great call for a screen, which I'm glad they're using the screen a heck of a lot more this year, to running back David Montgomery. We were just talking about that. Out to the right, that netted a big gain with Montgomery making sure to stay inbounds and keep the clock running. Smart play. Underrated. Detroit has so many weapons on offense that we sometimes forget about the glue pieces like veteran receiver Khalif Raymond. Not only was Raymond 3rd in the NFL last season with 13.8 yard average per punt, he also had a couple of nice touchdown receptions as a receiver and has caught 147 passes for 1,896 yards and 7 TDs over the last 4 seasons. He was really good in practice on Sunday, recording a couple of long touchdown catches. He's such an underrated and reliable target for Jared Goff, and he really is. He really is. Passes defense today. He said one thing that he's noticed more frequently through the first 9 practices of camp versus previous camps is how many hands Detroit's secondary is getting on footballs. In 7-on-7 period on Sunday, DJ Reed ran step for step with receiver Jamison Williams and broke up the first pass for the rep. 2 plays later, Meek Robertson got to the football the same time that it got to St. Brown for the PBU. Goff was 3 for 6 in the period with a couple of dump offs and a long touchdown to Raymond down the right sideline. And smart move. You know, it's always good to see young players stick close to veterans and learn from their example. Raymond and St. Brown have made catching footballs on the jugs machine part of their post-practice routine. It's nice to see the rookie wide receiver Isaac Tesla and Dominic Lovett join them after practice. That's great news. Lovett has dealt with a few drops in camp, so it's good to see him trying to perfect that part of his craft. Okay. I'm loving that. Like, absolutely loving the fact that these guys are now joining St. Brown, who started this thing 202 every day after practice. My question is, how come J-Mo never did? How come J-Mo never joined St. Brown after practice? It would be nice to see, 5, 6 guys in a line, all lined up, 6 jugs machines going, and all these guys just catching 202 together. Like, that would be great. And all those guys are probably going to make the team because they're going to be so much more ahead of the curve than all the other guys. And then the last part of his notes today were about Ennis Rakestraw and Dan Jackson. So that was it from Tim Twentyman. I thought I had a few more notes than that dude today. I'm hoping to get more action soon. So we'll be back here tomorrow morning for the Rise and Grind morning show at 8 a.m. I believe Eric should be with us tomorrow. And we'll get back at it, man. I thank you all for joining me tonight. Again, appreciate the donations to the Rockhound Cancer Foundation. Please do us a huge favor, like and subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. Just tell me why. Like, simply just send me an email and tell me why. What did I do? What did I not do? Otherwise, give us a chance, man. Subscribe to the channel. Help us get to the next milestone, which I'm wondering if we hit it tonight. I know that we are getting really close. Let me take a look. Let's take a look. Trying to give away all these free goodies, man. Oh, doesn't look like we're there. Got to look in one area, though, that has the real numbers. What you guys see and what I see are a little bit different. We are 4 short. We just need 4 more subscribers tonight to be able to give away a training camp jacket. If you haven't subscribed and you want to subscribe right now, I'm going to give a training camp jacket away tonight, right now. I'll wait. I'll give you to the end of this song, which is probably 90 seconds to subscribe. Did you do it? Did you subscribe? You could win something. Let me refresh my screen. Nobody subscribed. Y'all suck. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. You guys have a good night. We'll give it away tomorrow, I guess, to whoever joins the show tomorrow. You guys have a good one, man. Thanks for joining Rockhound Detroit Lions. Truly love you guys. You guys are the best part of this channel. Always have been. Always will be. You are the reason why we're here. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people shattering the NFL draft attendance record.